お嬢様。
Hello my lords and ladies, Joe here. Well, it's that time again with another Moogle treasure trove around the corner. And while the first hunt of Genesis seemed to be a bit lackluster in terms of prizes, the second hunt feels marginally better. Still, with the Yokai Watch event, the upcoming Make It Rain holiday, and I'm sure all that pesky real-life stuff getting in the way, I'm here to help you figure out which items you should spend your time to get. I'll be categorizing them based on how you get them outside the event, and discussing some outside factors when appropriate to further help you figure out what's worth getting. Let's get into it. First, of course, is the event exclusive items. These are the items that are only available during the Moogle Treasure Trove events. And we have a treat, with the first item being the Emerald Carbuncle Earring. This is a brand new item that has never been released before. That means old and new players alike should be taking notice of it. Now, chances are that it may come up in a future treasure trove, but that could be anywhere from 2 to 4 or more years from now. So, of course, this should be your top priority, even if you only have the slightest of interest in it. Next, the potentially special time maps for 30 tomes. Like all treasure maps available during Moogle treasure troves, these are stackable treasure hunt maps that have a 100% chance of opening a portal to a treasure dungeon. This time it is for the 90 dungeons, being the Excitatron 6000 and the Shifting Gymnasium of Aganon. Now, in judging the priority of this, you have to consider many factors. 1. Opening portals are not that hard to do with regular maps, though you can only carry 3 at a time. Also, nothing is guaranteed in a treasure dungeon. You might not get very far in the dungeon, let alone getting the drops you want, and that's not even bringing up the fact that you have to outroll everyone else who's gunning for those items as well. So I am giving this a medium priority. I'll leave a link with the loot tables of these dungeons in the description, so if there is an item you really want, you might want to put this as a high priority. And if you're a treasure map enthusiast, well, there's probably no way you'd listen to me anyway, and you're probably only going to be buying these. Oh, and for trial players, unless you want these crowding up your precious inventory space until you sub and get to level 90, these are a pass. And the final event exclusive item is the tried and true 10-stack Magicked Prism Jaw Mastery. If you've done more than one Moogle treasure trove, then you know that while you can only obtain these fireworks through these events, they are anything but rare or valuable. By which I mean they are available at every treasure trove event. And if the low price of one tome didn't give it away, these consumables are meant to be the leftover tome dump for when the event ends. Bottom priority as usual. Next, the Ishgardian Restoration. Normally these items involve unlocking the firmament, along with crafting and or gathering special items associated with the zone. So if you despise the disciple of hand and or land, be aware. Similarly, if you are aiming to get the Pteranodon horn, you'll probably want to skip these altogether, because you're going to end up with more seals and Kupo fortune tickets than you know what to do with. Starting off with the Ufiti horn. Normally this would cost you 8,400 Skybuilder scripts, which is no small feat. So when comparing grinds, getting the 50 treasure tomes will definitely be a preferable route. High priority. Now contrast this with the fashion accessory Cheerful Checkered Parasol. This would cost you 1,500 scripts, which is about 4.5 times less than the Ufiti horn. But through the treasure event, it costs 30 tomes, which isn't even half the amount of the mount's cost. It really isn't difficult to obtain 1,500 scripts, so I feel like it would be more of a waste of a time to collect the tomes to get this item, at least until you've gotten more valuable purchases. Low priority. Next, the Petit Pteranodon, which is a prize from the Moogle of Fortune scratch-off ticket game. Now, if you've seen any of my other Moogle Treasure Trove videos, you'll know what I'm going to say. But for those of you who are new, let me break it down. The Moogle of Fortune is a game of chance threefolded. You need to craft 5 items to purchase 1 ticket, and you have no real idea of what the prizes are, which square you'll have to get the item you want, or even if the prize is even on any of the squares. So it's RNG on top of RNG on top of even more RNG. So if you want this minion, you definitely should pick it up for the low cost of 7 tomes. High priority. Moving on to miscellaneous items. These are items that are normally gotten through various means. But because there is only a single item per method, I just decided to group them together for simplicity's sake. First, the Gabriel Alpha Identification Key for 50 tomes. This is normally gotten through Southern Front lockboxes, which are dropped from Fates in the Southern Boja front. Now, my experience with Boja is limited, and by limited I mean non-existent. But having gone through Eureka, my experience with lockboxes can be applied here. There's too much RNG in lockboxes to deal with. The loot table for the lockbox is huge, and if I know anything about mounts, this will be a rare drop. It is time to cut out the uncertainty and get the mount. And for trial players, this is the only method you currently have to obtain it. High priority. Now we have the Domakin minion for 50 tomes. This is obtained through Retainer Venture Waterside Exploration 25. Do you have a level 80 Fisher Retainer? Do you want to put up with the RNG of getting this minion? If you answered no to either of these questions, then this should be a high priority. Of course, for retainerless trial players, the event will be the only way of obtaining this minion. It's time to talk about my most controversial ranking on the list, the MGP Platinum card for 30 tomes. Normally you can get these through the Wondrous Tales. Now I've seen many comments and even videos claiming that this is a high value item. Well, let me reiterate that this is a low priority item. MGP is not hard to obtain. There are multiple ways to obtain MGP. On top of that, it is most likely that you'll be able to use the Golden Saucer events to obtain Moogle tomes. So if you want MGP, you can kill two birds with one stone. Furthermore, one day after the Moogle treasure trove begins, the Make It Rain event starts, which will make it even easier to obtain MGP. Even if the event's MGP increase includes the platinum cards, which I'm not sure about, let me know in the comments if that's true, the bonus would not justify this going anywhere but low priority. Using a limited time event to get a super easy currency is not the way to go. Only after you've gotten everything that you want from this event should you start spending the high price of 30 tomes for these consumables. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And speaking of other events, we have the Mhigan Barding for 30 tomes, normally obtained through the Rattle and Humbaba fate in the peaks. Now, this has to go in low priority, if not only because the Yokai Watch crossover event is still going on. And while by the time the event begins, most people will probably have finished the grind, there is a good chance that you'll still be able to get the help you need to complete these fates. But some advice. If you plan on getting this barding the normal way, don't try to do it solo. Moving on to the Windy Meadows Orchestrion roll for 30 tomes, which you can also get through the Aquapolis Treasure Map dungeon. Now, if you look at what I said about treasure dungeons earlier, then this should be no surprise as a high priority item. There are too many layers of RNG piled on, so the event is a good opportunity to pick it up. The Behemoth Heir is normally purchased with 400 Centurio seals, which you get by participating in the hunt. Trust me when I say, if you can join a hunt Discord server, picking up 400 Centurio seals will be child's play, low priority. When it comes to dungeon, trial, and raid drops, we will start with the Blinding Indigo Orchestrion roll for 50 tomes. You get this from the Eden's Gate Inundation raid. Now, my experience with normal raid Orchestrion rolls is that they are very common drops, so spending 50 tomes on this is a waste. If you do the raid and the roll drops, chances are everyone will yeet themselves out of the instance before you even have a chance to roll on it. Low priority. However, trial players do not have access to the Eden raids as of yet, so if you really want this roll early, now is your chance to get it. The extreme trial mounts available this time around are the Gullfaxi whistle, which you get from the Naval Extreme, the round Lanner whistle from the Minstrel's Ballad Thoradin's Reign, and the Auspicious Kamuy Fife, which you get from the Jade Stoa Extreme, all of which cost 30 tomes, and all are low priority. It's very easy to form or join a mount party for these. Not worth your time to collect the tomes to get them. Next you have the Innocence card, which drops from the Crown of the Immaculate the Crown of the Immaculate Extreme, or from the Dream Tarot card, which costs 3,240 MGP. Now, my experience with collecting Triple Triad cards has been very mixed. There are some cards like Archbishop Thordan VII, which was very hard to collect. Then there are the Stormblood Trial cards, which were relatively easy. After doing some research, I believe the Innocence card falls more into the latter. Still, without any real assurance that it'll drop, and the fact that it only costs 7 tomes, I'd give this a medium priority. Oh, and for your trial players, don't even worry about this. It won't even be available as a prize option. The 9S card is in a similar boat. While it is a 100% drop from the copied Bunker Alliance raid, for some reason, people roll on Triad cards, even if they already have them, as if a paltry 1,500 MGP was worth it. So having a good amount of competition for this card in a 24-person raid, I'd give it a medium priority. And again, sorry trial players, this will not be available to you. As for the Beast Tribe items, we have the Direwolf Whistle, which you get by being of allied reputation with the Ixal, for 120,000 gil, and the Keeper of the Lock Orchestrion roll, which you get from the Ananta once you've reached respected reputation, for 3 Ananta Dream Staffs. Both of these are low priority. There are a lot more rewards that you get by actually doing the tribal reputation grinds. So you might as well get them the old-fashioned way. Not even the 120k price tag for the Direwolf Whistle should dissuade you, as that isn't really that much gil when you think about it. I will grant you that the Ixal are the longest reputation grind from the Realm Reborn Beast Tribes, and it is the crafting tribe. So if you absolutely refuse to craft but want the Direwolf Whistle, here's your chance. When it comes to craftable items, it's kind of hard to gauge their value. So I don't. One should note that all are level 80 recipes and don't require rare materials, with maybe the one exception being the crystal glass needed for the Crystarium wardrobe. So you have to ask yourself, do you have a house? Are you a crafter? Do you not mind spending the money on the market board to get these? If so, then these should be extremely low priority. If you have a house and an apartment, don't craft, and still want to save some gil, well, now here's your chance. And I don't think I need to say this, but trial players need not apply for these prizes. When it comes to PvP items, there are 2 camps. Are you a full sub player? Then you should quite obviously just spend the 4,000 wolf marks for each of these items. Wolf marks are extremely easy to obtain, so don't bother grinding out the 15 tomes to get these. Low priority. But for trial players, which as you know, still haven't been let back into PvP, despite the promise that they would, then this is your only chance in the foreseeable future to get these, and should be a high priority. And finally, the cards you can win through Triple Triad. These are absolutely a low priority. To make these cards even available for the event, you have to unlock Laniate as a Triple Triad opponent. So if you unlock her, you might as well play her instead of gathering tomes, which could be spent on better items. If you can't stand the idea of playing Triple Triad, but you still want to expand your collection, then sure, get these. And there you have it, my priority guide for the Moogle Treasure Trove, the second hunt for Genesis. But what do you think? What items are you gonna gun for? Do you disagree with any of my listings? Do you think that these prizes are a step up from the first hunt of Genesis? Let me know in the comments. I hope I earned the treasure of your like and sub, and I'll see you in the world of tomorrow.